Hey everyone, welcome to Relatively Refined. My name is Paula. You know, sometimes the books that speak most deeply to our adult souls are the ones we first met as children. In today's video, we're going to dive into a collection of children's books that aren't just for kids. They're for anyone in need of warmth, wonder, and a little emotional balm. Whether it's the gentle rhythm of a well-loved story or the wisdom tucked between the pages, these books offer a sense of calm and clarity that's hard to find elsewhere. So if you're looking for stories that nourish the soul and bring a little bit of light into your day, stories that feel like home, then stick around and let's get started. Whenever my soul is in need of some nourishment, the first book I turn to is Understood Betsy by Dorothy Canfield Fisher. This is my all-time favorite book. I think I got this book for Easter in my Easter basket one year, or maybe for Christmas. But I know that the minute I started reading this when I was a little girl, I sat down and I read the whole thing straight through. And I've read it probably 100 times. It's the story of a little girl, Elizabeth Ann, who lives in the city with some very overprotective aunts. And due to some health circumstances involving one of the aunts, she's sent to live with some distant relatives out in the country in Vermont. And at first, this is just a terrifying thought and experience for Elizabeth Ann. But throughout the story, she grows and flourishes, and it's just delightful to watch her come into herself on this farm in rural Vermont. So if you're looking for a book to transport you back to simpler days and simpler times, I cannot recommend Understood Betsy any more highly. It is absolutely my hands down all-time favorite book. Another favorite childhood book of mine that I love to read and reread is the book Miss Hickory by Carolyn Sherwin Bailey. This is another book that I received in my Easter basket, or maybe for Christmas as a little girl. It's the story of a tiny doll who is made from an apple twig and a hickory nut head. She lives in a cozy corncob house, and when her human family leaves for the winter, she has to fend for herself in the cold, wintry New England weather. And what starts out as a story of survival for Miss Hickory turns into something much more profound. There are themes of humility, friendship, reliance, and transformation that are woven into the stories of this slim little novel. It's a fabulous, imaginative story that really, again, brings you back to a simpler time and shows you the importance of things as simple as friendship and sharing and appreciation. So if you are looking for something that harkens back to a simpler time, I recommend Miss Hickory by Carolyn Sherwin Bailey. Another beautifully comforting book is the book Miracles on Maple Hill by Virginia Sorensen. This book was given to me by one of our viewers. Thank you so much, Arlene. It's a fabulous book. This book is about family and hope and the magic of the natural world. In the story, Marley and her family move from the city to her grandmother's farmhouse in rural Pennsylvania. They are hoping for a miracle of sorts. They're hoping for some hope and some joy. Her dad is really struggling after returning home from the war. And through the rhythm of the seasons and the natural world, through the assistance of hardworking neighbors, and through the act of maple sugaring, her family does indeed find a sense of peace and hope and healing. This book is just delightful, and it would be perfect for anyone who enjoys books about nature or seasonal reads. It's just tremendous, and it really is so very heartwarming. I don't know if you can hear Phoebe snoring, but she's right over here, and she is, of course, snoring. I guess I'm boring her with all my book reviews. But Miracles on Maple Hill by Virginia Sorensen is a wonderfully comforting read, and I highly recommend this if you are looking for something to nourish your soul. Another book, or actually series of books, that are wonderful reads for adults in search of some comfort are the Little House books. I have the whole collection. I read all of these as a young girl, and I continue to read these as an adult. Of course, they are the story of the life of Laura Ingalls Wilder, and it was made into a TV series. But if you have not read this series of books, you are missing out. I cannot encourage you enough to go ahead and pick up these books. They take you all the way from Laura's life as a very young girl in the little house in the big woods, all the way up to her life when she marries Alonzo Wilder and becomes a teacher and in the prairies and moves westward. It's just a fabulous series. I used to play Little House on the Prairie outside as a little girl when the first frost hit and all of the vegetables in the garden had kind of died. We would go outside and pretend to pick crops in the field, and we had a little playhouse that my dad made for us out of it was an old chicken coop, and he converted it into a little playhouse, and we had a fake stove and a refrigerator and a little table and chairs in there. And for hours on end, I would play Little House on the Prairie. I wanted to be Laura Ingalls. So I just love this whole series of books. I don't even know how many books there are in the series, but it's wonderful if you can read them in order. And if you can't, that's fine as well. They're just extremely heartwarming. So I highly recommend the Little House series by Laura Ingalls Wilder for anyone in search of a little comfort. Another book that I read as a child that is a fabulous book is Hans Brinker, or The Silver Skates. It's by Mary Mapes Dodge. And this is the story of Hans Brinker and his sister Gretel, two children who are growing up in 19th century Holland. They dream of winning a local ice skating contest. And they are also incredibly devoted to helping out their ailing father. They want to support him. The book is so much more than just a book about ice skating. Woven throughout it are stories of wonderful generosity. There's moral testing that goes on, and a fabulous sense of community. The setting is wonderful. I love the descriptions of the wintry weather and of the Holland, landscape and the ice skating contests and so forth. The descriptions are fabulous. And in the end, it's just so incredibly heartwarming. So if you're looking for something a little bit different, and maybe a book that doesn't get quite the play that it should, in my opinion, I highly recommend Hans Brinker, or The Silver Skates by Mary Mapes Dodge. Another book that is a children's book at heart, but is so wonderful for the adult soul, is The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. This is a wonderful story about Mary Lennox, who is an orphaned girl, very unhappy and lonely, and she is sent to live with her uncle on the Yorkshire moors. And while she is there, she discovers a hidden garden, a secret garden, and she, everything in the garden is dead, and she works so hard to bring the garden to life. And in the process of breathing life into the garden, so the garden breathes life into her. This is just an incredibly heartwarming story. I mean, if you haven't read The Secret Garden, you need to run right out to your library, either check it out of the library or go to your local bookstore and pick up a copy, because it is an incredibly heartwarming and lovely story that should be read by everyone. If you love nature and stories that emphasize the power and the magic and the healing sense that the natural world can provide, this is the book for you. So run right out and get yourself a copy of The Secret Garden. Another fabulous comfort book for adults is The Wind in the Willows by Kenneth Grahame. This is a whimsical story that celebrates friendships, home, and the beauty of the English countryside. At the heart of the book is the friendship amongst 4 of the characters: Rat, Mole, Badger, and Toad. And they get up to all kinds of adventures, from cozy picnics by the river to crazy escapades involving a stolen motor car. Beneath this kind of lighthearted surface, the book carries a deep affection for home, loyalty, and the friendships that sustain us through life's ups and downs. So if you're looking for a whimsical read with much deeper themes that run through it, The Wind in the Willows is a great book to pick up. I have this beautiful copy here that's illustrated by Tasha Tudor, who is also a Vermonter, and it is just a beautiful copy. But get yourself one from the library, order one from your local bookstore, and sit down on a sunny afternoon and read The Wind in the Willows. It will be a joyful experience, I promise. The last book in my pile today is a Nancy Drew book. I have been a Nancy Drew fan my whole life, from the time I read my very first one, which was The Secret of the Old Clock, to present day, when I read and reread these whenever I'm in need for just that nostalgic feeling of and reminding myself of how joyful the act of reading can be. These books were ones that I got always for my birthday or Christmas or Easter. Back in the day, you didn't just get something for no reason. If you got a gift, it was because it was a holiday. It was your birthday, it was Christmas or Easter. Those were really the 3 times a year when you got presents as a child, when I was growing up. And I can always remember thinking, oh, please let there be a new Nancy Drew book, in my Easter basket or my Christmas stocking or in my birthday presents. And there always was one. My mom was a big reader herself and encouraged all of 5 of us to love books. So I continue to add to my collection of Nancy Drew books. And whenever I just want that nostalgic feeling, I pick up a Nancy Drew and read about her adventures with Bess and George. Now, this is by no means an exhaustive list of books that can offer comfort to the adult soul. I mean, there's so many others: Bobbsey Twins, Harriet the Spy, The Little Princess, many, many others. But I just went up onto my bookshelf and pulled off a few that I know that I turn to time and time again when I am in need of some comfort. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave me a comment down below. What are some books that I might have left off this list that you turn to when you just want that comforting, nostalgic feelings that books can offer you? I'd love to know. It would be fun to compile a list. In fact, someone did ask me in the comments a while back if I could somehow compile some lists of books that I've recommended and reader recommendations. And I think I'm going to try to do that. We do have a website, www.relativelyrefined.com, and I'm going to see if I can figure out a way to update that website and include some lists of both books I've recommended and viewer recommendations. So please leave a recommendation in the comment box below. You know, what are your children's books that you turn to for comfort and that feel-good feeling? You know, it's just, books are fabulous. I have been a reader my whole life, and I still prefer reading to almost any other activity. All right, well, that is going to do it for today. I will leave a few more videos for you to watch linked at the end of this one and in the description box below. If you've made it this far and you don't want to leave a comment, but you want to let me know that you are here, leave a book emoji in the comments. Those emojis and thumbs ups and comments and shares help out our channel tremendously. We are inching toward 10,000 subscribers, and then the sky's the limit after that. So thanks again for spending part of your day with me. I truly appreciate it. I will update you when I get those reading lists put together. I may send them out in a newsletter. You can sign up for our newsletter by going to the website and leaving your email address there. In the meantime, take good care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.